All right, continuing on with the semester 2 final exam practice. We just did chapters 7 and 8 review. Now we're going to do 9 and 10, and then 11 and 12 after this. My computer's being, there we go. Okay. So the inverse is where you take your x and y and switch them. Now remember, if you have your equation looks like this, where it has f of x, and then switch them x and y spots, and then get rid of the 6. Over 3y. You could multiply by reciprocal, multiply by 3 over 2. I personally think it's just as easy to, but I think it makes more sense. Both sides by 3, get rid of that denominator first. X minus 18 is equal to 2y, and now I'm dividing by 2. So I do it in 2 steps. I think that makes it easier, maybe not shorter, but easier for me. So we get 3x over 2 minus 9. Obviously, put it the way it's going to look on multiple choice. Keep up with me. 3 over 2x minus 9 is your inverse. And again, f of x, remember the inverse of f of x, they write it as f to the negative first of x. I don't remember how I did it on the final. The function, so remember, this x's that you're subbing in, but you only sub it in if it falls under each one of these categories. So for -5, and I try to color coordinate this on the practice answer key to the practice final. -5 falls under this -3. That means we use this formula. So if you only think over here, all that tells us is what we can plug in or what numbers qualify for the equations we plug in. X is equal to -5. -3, so let's plug it into this one. Be 2 times 5 plus 1. That's -10 plus 1, which is -9. The f of, let's go ahead and do 4. 4, well, bigger than 2. Now we use this formula. Well, it's just x, which means you put 4 in for that, so you end up getting 4. F of 2 is an interesting one because if you look, we have 2 listed in 2 places. You just have to make sure you're careful. 2 does not fall into this category because 2 is not bigger than 2. Bigger than or equal to would be set, but it's not. So less than or equal. But this one, there is no x to plug it in. So if you plug 2 in, you get out 5. There is no place to plug 2 in, so your answer is the same, where 0 is in between 2. So we're going to use the second equation here, which again, if there's no 0, your answer just is 5. So you plug in, if you use the equation between -3 and +2, it's just going to be 5 because there's no place to plug that in. Larry's getting better and better at fishing every year. He started collecting data on fish starting in 2010. He put all his data into a graph. Again, we're using 2010 as 0, so that's a starting point. That line to be this formula where use the best fit line to predict how much he will catch in 2030. So the whole thing, the reason I'm circling 210 and that 210 is equal to 0, because a lot of people, when they see this, they say 230 and they plug that in for y. It's not 230, it's how many years since 2010. So 2030 is 20 years after 210. 20 years. Off the top of your head, you can take 3 by 210. So that is what now this problem really isn't because it's just, we just said plus 8. Put that in your calculator. That's 60 plus 8 is 68. So 6. The next couple problems, you have this function bank. So you're taking to whichever function you need. This is g of -5. And again, that -5, normally I have -5 for that. That means x is equal to 5. So in your g equation, plug -5 in for that x. So it's -5 squared over 16. Make sure you keep in mind that -5 squared, make sure you use parentheses. That is 25 minus 16. 25 minus 16. I think a lot of people put it in their calculator as -5 squared, and I get 25. That's not right. You have to use parentheses, or you just have to remember that no matter what you do, if you square a number, it's positive. So if you get -25, that's actually positive 25. Now this one, in parentheses, is x plus 5, and we're looking at between 25 and 26, the difference between being in parentheses and out of parentheses. If it's in parentheses, just like this one was -5, we plug in x to x plus 5, just like we x is equal to negative for 24. Is in for that x. Last time we plugged in -5, now we're plugging in x plus 5. So it's x squared minus. It's a little bit of work because again, do this one times x plus 5 minus 16 squared. Quickly through this, but you should be able to FOIL by now or distribute x plus 5, x plus 5, x plus 20 minus 16. There is x squared plus 10x plus 25 minus 16 is 9. So parentheses, you put inside your x of your parentheses. Here says g of x here, so we plug this one in for x. So we have x squared minus 16 plus 5. Minus 16 plus 5 is x squared minus 11. Difference between parentheses and out of the parentheses. So make sure you know that. That is obviously a very common mistake. Of g of x, that's a composition. And again, it's almost to number 24 and 25. X is equal to -5. This one, we have x is equal to x. Plug in g of x for the x of our f equation. So the f equation 3, we're taking the g equation and putting it in x. So plus 3. G equation is the one we've been using, x squared minus plus 3. Distribute that 2, that's minus 32 plus 3, which is minus 29. Is not the hard part. The math is the hard part is making sure you remember you're plugging x you're plugging in the f equation. J of g of -3, so we plug -3 in for g first, just like we did in number 24, and then we take whatever that answer is and plug it into the j. The g equation is the one we've been working with, so it's -3 squared minus 16, which is positive 9 minus 16. 9 minus 16 is -7. So now we take that -7 and we plug that into my j equation. This could write what's happening here, but that's okay. There's going to all of a sudden be a bunch of scribbles. All right, sorry, apparently I selected white as a color. So this should be j, yes. So my j of -7. So my j equation is just x plus 6. So it is -7 plus 6 is -1. So that answer is -1 for that one. So that is your answer for chapter 9. Let's see if we can do chapter 10 quick. Only about 10 minutes, so let's see if we can squeeze it in here. 29. And don't make this harder than it is. You literally just have to draw a straight line. Any difference. The domain range. The domain is all real numbers because it goes on forever, ever, in the left and to the right. So infinity. Range, it looks like it tapers off at 2. Intercept, it crosses right here at 3, so your y-intercept is at 3. Graph the following. Remember, the y-intercept is the number in front of this. There is no number in front, so that's got to be a 1. Then the biggest thing is, since that's 0.8, it's smaller than 1, so it's a decay. If it was bigger than 1, it'd be a growth, like this. But since it's smaller than 1, it's a decay, and tapers off, the asymptote is at 1. Again, we didn't move it up or down at all, so that asymptote, it gets closer, or sorry, I said 1. It gets closer and closer to that x-axis without going over. The biggest thing is make sure you can go from form to exponent form. That's probably something that'll be, I'll have to check to see if that's on the next question, or on that form. I don't think I'll use the same form on the test chapter for chapter 10. So what it is if you have log base x of y, exponent form x. This is what happens when I'm in crunch time and my computer goes slow. Okay, so be frustrated. But it is x raised to the b is equal to 5 when you put it in the exponent form. B raised to the x is equal to 5. Exponent sheet, 3 raised to what number is 81? So 3 is right here, 81 is right here, so it's 3 to the 4th. X is equal to 4, and so x is equal to 4. I would or use your exponent sheet. The next 134, the biggest thing to remember is that the natural log of e cancels together, so you'll just have x on that side is equal to x. Base 10, so base 10 raised to what is 10,000? Sorry, 1,000, and that's got to be 10 to the third. And again, you can use your calculator or your exponent sheet. 10 to the third. $36. This is where it's going to get a little bit more interesting, a little bit more. If you look at your exponent sheet, 5 raised to what number is 230? There is no 230 on here. So instead, this is where we're going to take the natural log of both sides. And you could have done that with the other ones as well. So what that does then is you take that exponent, you move that out front. And now you get that x by itself, and this is both sides by the natural log of 5 and the natural log of 230, they're just normal numbers. Do it. 30. Log of 230, actually 5.4. The natural log is 1.609. I put my calculator like this. Parentheses. You end up getting 3.3. Number 27. This one caught me off guard. I almost missed this one and went back and fixed it. If you're adding, they all have the same base, but if you're adding, that means we multiply the x and the 9. So this is actually log base 5 of x times 9, which is 9x. Once you have it down to a single log, now we can get rid of the logs because they're both log base 5. So it's 9x is equal to 108. divide both sides by 9, you get x is equal to 12. Let's see, 36. Again, if you want to take the natural log of both sides, you can do it for purposes. Look, this is right here, 216 over here, so that's 6 to the third. X is equal to 6 to the third. And remember, we have an exponent raised to another exponent. We had a question like this earlier, where you multiply. So that's actually 6 raised to the 3x is equal to 6 raised to the 6x plus 21. The bases are the same, so that's equal to 6x plus 21. Subtract 6x. 6x is negative 3x is equal to 21. X is equal to negative 7 for that one. And last but not least, 29, we have raised to the 2x plus 5, and this is taking the natural log of the hand. We do the last one, take the natural log of both sides. It's equal to the natural log of 82, and we can move that out front. You can move it out front, or you can remember, cancel, so all we're left with is that exponent. We move that down, 2x plus 5 is equal to the natural log of 82. Then from here, again, if it helps to make that a decimal right away, you can. For me, I don't yet. So I have 2x is equal to natural log of 82 minus 5. And then I divide that whole thing by 2. And that's what I put in my calculator. That ends up giving me negative 0.30 if you round. I think it's something like negative 0.296, I think is what it was. Anyways, look at my answer key because I'm in a hurry. So that should be the last one in chapter 10. Good. So next video will be chapter 11. If you have any questions, let me know.